May I come in, sir?
Please come in.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good
Good afternoon.
Please be seated.
Please
Thank
be
you.
seated.
We are happy to see the first lady candidate. I think it's
Anupriya, yes, of course. Always a pleasure to have a lady candidate here on the interview panel. Good evening, Anupriya. How are you doing today?
Sir, I'm good, thank you.
Kindly introduce yourself to the members of the board.
Panel, I'm Anupriya Rai and I'm born and brought up in Bhagalpur, Bihar. And I have completed my graduation from Jawaharlal Nehru University and I'm pursuing masters in sociology there. My interests include bullet journaling, crocheting and listening to podcasts.
Good. Now, Anupriya, how long you been in Delhi?
So I have been in Delhi for around 4 years now.
4 years.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're acclimatized to Delhi weather.
Yes, sir.
What's the weather alert for today by the IMD?
So the weather alert was in the morning there would be very dense fog and
The entire
orange.
color codification,
So orange alert.
orange.
Yes, sir.
And what does that signify?
So orange alert signifies to be prepared for the incoming changes in the weather like dense fog. This
And how would that you differentiate with red?
So red is to take action that the weather has become bad.
All right. So you've taken sociology as your subject,
Yes, sir.
optional subject, and you're pursuing also. You've done your education also in sociology. Is that right?
So I'm currently studying. Yes.
Perfect. Now, if I had to ask you, how do you differentiate between ethics and morality? How will you differ ethics from morality?
So, to differentiate ethics from morality, I would say ethics is widely secular and morality draws its inspiration from a lot of sources and majorly it is religion.
Could you refine your answer? Ethics. You said, what did you say about ethics?
So, ethics is widely secular.
Secular.
Yes, sir.
Is that what ethics is?
Uh,
Is your decision ethical? That means you are secular.
No, sir. So, I think that ethics is majorly that it does not draw its inspiration totally from religion, but ethics is pondered over by philosopher to understand what is good and what is bad in human action, whereas morality is generally inspired from religion. Like
Anupriya, I was expecting a much more refined and perfect answer from a student of sociology in terms of ethics. But anyway, with the way you defined it, let me see how much more you know about the ethics and morality. If I have to ask you, give me an example where an action could be ethical but morally incorrect.
So, I would take the example of sanctions over certain meats in various religion. Like in Hinduism, we cannot eat beef, but it would be ethical for a person maybe in US to eat beef, but not moral if the same person being Hindu is eating beef.
Okay, and what is this term Sanskritization means? And who has given this word Sanskritization?
So, Sanskritization was the word given by M.N. Srinivas, and so Sanskritization means that whenever lower caste is trying to emulate the ways of the upper caste, especially a Dvija caste, most likely Brahmins, Banya, etc.
Okay. Now I'm using a couple of words, quick words, huh? And you have to react on it. Smart grid, smart home, smart station, smart police.
So, smart.
What does smart grid mean?
The smart grid means where electricity is. So, I would take the context of smart meters where electricity for the charge of electricity is prepaid in terms of.
Lady, I said smart grid.
Yes, sir. So, I'm not sure.
Smart home.
So smart home is, I would say, when home is entirely connected with Internet of Things, where various machines are interacting with each other.
And what does smart police mean?
So smart police is a police that is modernized and is conducive to the changes in cyber domain, whereas it's equipped with all the changes and modernized.
Okay, Anupriya, I'll go on for another one like this. Green product, green mining. What are these two terms click you?
So green product is where a product is carbon neutral in its entire value chain, and so green mining would be when when in place of mining maybe natural resources, afforestation etc. take place, and there is carbon capture and storage so that the net effect is zero carbon.
You sure?
So I'm not sure.
Greenfield roadways.
So greenfield roadways means when a entirely new project is being set up.
So all new projects are taken. They are all greenfield, are they?
So greenfield means which is taken up from scratch and not made up by improving the
You
existing
are
structure.
not giving a right answer. Oh, doesn't matter. Anupriya, my final question coming to you. That the two important schemes of the government of India, which has actually affected your day-to-day life.
So the two. So I think.
Okay, we'll give an answer once you, or you want some more time, or you can want to make an attempt to this.
So I
If
cannot,
you are correct, if you think that you have an answer to this question.
so I cannot pinpoint just two because the
You
policies.
pinpoint one first, at least come out with one.
So there are a lot, and it
You
is.
put out one, I think at least pick out one, which has touched your life. Your day-to-day life. Mind you, my language, my question. Anyway, I've given you enough time. Bihar, final question coming to you from Bihar. You come to Bihar, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Now, if you were to imbibe two important personalities of Bihar, who have actually shaped your personality, because you're a student of sociology, who would they be and why?
So, two personalities of Bihar that have shaped my personality. Firstly, would be my parents. So they are from Bihar. They have shaped my personality.
Good one, yes, okay. Well, why? What that would that be? In any case, you have those genetic factors in you.
So my father is really hardworking and he does everything for his daughters.
Okay, come on to the second one.
So the second personality.
Yes, of course, I have two personalities.
So my mother.
All right, I'll pass it on to my
Hello.
next member.
Hello.
Right.
Hello. This question is on your name. Who are the two Sakhis of Shakuntala in Avigyan Shakuntala?
Ma'am, I do not know. I'm sorry.
You know about Avigyan Shakuntala?
Yes, ma'am, I know that.
What
This
is
is a
that?
book written by Kalidas.
So who are Shakuntala's Sakhis, friends?
Ma'am, I'm not read it.
They are Anusuya and Priyamvada. Have you not heard of these names?
Sorry, ma'am. I haven't.
Chalo. So your name is a combination of these two words. Anusuya. Do you know the meaning of Anusuya?
No, ma'am.
Priyamvada. Chalo. Tell me, where did subaltern studies originate from?
So, ma'am, to trace the roots of subaltern studies, it began around 1980s when when there was the work by one of the major work by Gayatri Spivak, Can the Subaltern Speak, and a sociologist and researcher, they took this domain of subaltern studies.
There were writers and sociologists much prior to Gayatri Spivak.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Ma'am, we can take the likes of B.R. Ambedkar.
He was not a sociologist. Do regard. Professional sociologist. I thought I learned something from him. Have you heard of Professor Ranjit Goa?
Yes, ma'am.
So wasn't he one of the first in India to write about subaltern studies?
Yes, ma'am. He was also among the people who.
He was also, he was the person. Okay, tell me what is subaltern studies.
So, ma'am, subaltern studies is when the writers take into consideration the problems of the subaltern people, the people who are the most vulnerable, who belong to the lower caste and who are the most exploited people, and whose history and whose work has never reached the mainstream.
Did Antonio Gramsci have anything to say about subalterns? You heard of Antonio Gramsci?
Yes, ma'am.
Anyway, you tell whatever you know about him, what were his theories.
Ma'am, Antonio Gramsci talked about hegemony. Yes, ma'am. He
So
talked.
explain that, what is hegemony?
Ma'am, hegemony is basically how the ruling class maintains its order by coercing the consent of the
Right.
dominated class as well.
Is it happening in India?
So, ma'am, this is a universal phenomena.
Yeah, but if you use that definition in the context of where you have grown up, how would you explain it? I mean, you are from Bihar, one of it is the most backward state in the country.
Ma'am, to analyze how the people who are ruled and nominated are coerced by the ruling class, we could see that during elections as well, and during the development process, how the narrative is swayed by the ruling class in favor of certain groups, and to maintain that elite circle among themselves, and not let the people who are from the backward class, from the backward caste or region to reach, but only benefit those who are in the power themselves.
Okay. You could shorten that answer and make it more cryptic. Sanskritization, he said. Now, in the context of empowering the lower classes, which is happening, which is a very positive development for our democracy and society, and also the demand from various other forward castes to be declared as backward. Where do you think Sanskritization is going? Is it still an objective of the lower caste?
Ma'am,
Is it the end of Sanskritization?
Ma'am, I would not say that this is the end of Sanskritization, but obviously we see that a reverse process called as desanskritization taking place, where caste
Is there a term, desanskritization? I'm asking, I don't know.
Ma'am, it is in vogue and everybody uses.
Okay, so now it's in vogue. Okay, carry on.
Ma'am, various groups like Marathas, Jats, Patels, they are asking for reservation, and also other groups asking for ST status, SC status to get the benefits. Ma'am, I would see this as because economy is not able to give them enough and they are not able to raise their level, they are seeking the help of desensitization process and reservation. But it does not mean that Sanskritization has stopped, because people still emulate the values and culture of so-called upper caste by maybe to give a local example, near my house there are people who belong to lower caste and they have got a reservation and they work at a very good level in municipality, but during every Durga Puja they organize large scale bhandara and they worship Durga Mata with much fanfare to establish their position. So I cannot say that Sanskritization has stopped.
you. Very good answer. Have you read Veena Das's A Field of Her Own?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. What is your position on the socialization of young boys? Why is it that a large number of boys, when they grow up to be adolescents, or men, are into raping small girls, or they think it is their birthright to beat their wives for not giving them a hot cup of tea or not putting the dinner on table at the time? What makes them think so? What makes them like those monsters?
Ma'am, the reason would be that patriarchy is perpetuated through the way they are socialized, the way their mother and their father treat daughters and sons differently.
I'm not talking of that. I'm talking how the boy is socialized into thinking that he has the right to use women, to beat women, to treat them as subordinates. How he acquires that? How can that be stopped?
Ma'am, I think he acquires that he has the right to beat his wife or rape other women by seeing men around him that they get away with such acts, and it is in some way also encouraged to and even certain women also support if the wife does something wrong, then she should be
Beaten.
yes, ma'am, bitten so that she learns a lesson. And ma'am, this can be stopped by, because the answer lies here only, the way the boys are socialized. If their mother and their father corrects them in the childhood, only then will they able to be able to respect
If
women.
the father beats the mother, who will stop him?
So, ma'am, that's the problem, because if women do not have autonomy in the financial domain of their sexual and bodily autonomy, they cannot stop their men. They would feel bad, but they cannot do anything, and they are taught that they have to bear everything for the sake of child. So, this has to change.
So, Anupriya, there is really no answer to this problem as yet. Thank you.
Anupriya, you did Russian, BA in Russian language.
Yes, sir.
How is the knowledge of it? Thereafter you are doing MA in sociology. Your optional is sociology. How does the, I'm a little perplexed that why did you do a BA in Russian language? You could do BA in sociology.
Yes, sir. So in the beginning, I wanted to pursue law, but I couldn't get through admission in the college. So I thought that I could also go for civil services, and then I chose Jawaharlal Nehru University because it provided me the platform. And for the bachelor's, they had language courses only, and then I chose Russian because it would have helped me by giving an exposure in JNU to prepare for civil services.
So you will ride any horse available to get into the JNU, but not bothering whether you are getting the right course. You could do it in DU or in some local university in Bhagalpur.
Yes,
It's
sir.
a much bigger education center.
Yes, sir. I agree with you that you are right, but I don't think that studying Russian was riding any horse, because it also helped me to learn about the culture of Russia. And my second choice is foreign service. Then maybe in future it might help me if I get there.
Okay. You are a sociology student.
Yes.
There had been recently caste census done and do you support this idea or you are not comfortable with this idea?
So I think I'm in two minds over this issue, because it's a fact that there has been positive correlation between economic backwardness and also backwardness in terms of caste. But could this be the only way how people in the backward castes are lifted? I do not agree this view. I think that caste census provides with rich and actual data about how people belonging to various castes fare. But Bihar in itself needs much economic progress, and that cannot just be and caste census or maybe reservation could appear as a red herring here if we do not industrialize Bihar, if we do not increase the level of education in Bihar, because I think that's the major issue rather than some people being backward in certain caste. And I think then rising tide will lift all boats, if not totally, but it would help.
Okay. Tell us something about Vikramshila University.
So Vikramshila University was established during the Pala period by Dharmpala, and
Why? Who destroyed it?
so I think it was destroyed by Muhammad Ghazi, the Ghazi.
Okay. Tell me, they destroyed it is historically Nalanda and Vikramshila. Why did they do it? I mean, what were the universities doing that they destroyed? As a sociologist, do you find any reasons for attacking the education centers?
Yes, sir. So the invaders destroyed Vikramshila University, the Nalanda University, because in those education centers, people were imparted knowledge, and they could question the wrongdoings of those invaders, and they could build a better resource for them. They could better equip themselves by dealing with the incoming challenges. And education provides a tool to become better. So it was an avenue.
Don't you think that any invader would like to attack the visible symbols of glory, the centers which are sort of your pride? By destroying them, they are destroying your pride.
Yes, sir.
So you agree with the preparation?
Yes, sir, I agree.
Okay. So tell us about some what visiting places in Bhagalpur.
So some places worth visiting in Bhagalpur are Vikramshila Gangetic Dolphin Sanctuary, and so we have Kuppa Ghat, and so we have River Ganga, so it could also be visited. Ruins of Vikramshila University.
You said you have studied Russian and you are now studying sociology, and you say that you have learned little culture of Russia also. Tell me why there is so much of trust deficit between Russian people and other Europeans primarily. I am saying European, I am not using American because that is a political thing. I am saying this is a part of Europe only, and but even before the revolution and after the revolution.
So I think that Russian people have different ethnicity. They belong to Slavic origin. So and the people and the other European people, maybe France, UK, etc. So they all have this homogeneous culture, but Russian people were different. So
They are also not very homogeneous. Some are Vikings, some are Romans, some are even.
So and also Russia. So Russia had a Tsarist regime which was autocratic. So even that perpetuated the belief of people being wary of the Russians. So and Russia was an imperial power and annexed a lot of countries in Europe. So people were also wary of the Russian pre-revolution. And so post-revolution, the major reason was the rise of communism, which differentiated other European countries and Russia.
Now between themselves also from Ukraine and Chechen and all that, there is so much of trust deficit. They keep fighting.
Yes, so they keep fighting for their own sovereignty, and they feel that they are not being seen and heard in the Russian regime. So,
Do you know any country which has got friendly relations with Russia apart from India?
so China has a friendly relation with Russia.
Bhagalpur is famous for one thing and infamous for one thing.
Yes, sir.
What are they?
So Bhagalpur is famous for Tasar silk, and which also has GI tag, and it's infamous for many crimes. I could name the Bhagalpur blindings, the riot that took place in 1989.
Has anybody been punished for that?
So has anyone been punished for the riots?
Hmm.
So many.
That jail riots, the famous in which hundreds were killed.
So are you talking about the 1989 riots?
Yeah.
So there were some people who were punished, and when there was regime change, etc., then some people were also acquitted. But because there were various committees which was set up to examine who was responsible for riots, and they said that administration was.
Okay. Recently, Supreme Court was considering, they had a PIL, which they were considering whether same-sex marriages should be allowed. And finally, they took the decision that we will leave it to the best judgment of the Parliament to decide whether it should be allowed. But that is a very good decision. So, in your view, as a sociologist, do you think same-sex marriages, has it worked anywhere in the world, or is it suitable for a country like India?
So many countries allow same-sex marriage, like US, and now even Nepal has allowed same-sex marriage. So it has to be seen what will be the long-term impact on society of same-sex marriage. But it could be analyzed in two ways. What are the rights of the persons involved in same-sex relations, and what is the impact on society? And so society till today does not accept same-sex marriage, because for society to grow forward, we need more members, and same-sex marriage by itself cannot lead to increase in members of the society. So also people who are not people who do not belong to same-sex relationship, they consider that they are polyamorous, and people of same sex are polyamorous. So society is not ready, and also how would the children of same-sex marriage, if they are adopted, be socialized into the world, other world where people are not accepting of same-sex marriage. So these are the challenges.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So you are a sociology student, right? So explain this concept that man is a social animal, correct? So man is a social animal or rational animal?
So man is a social animal, as was said by Plato. So because we live in a society, and man here means people, humans, and we live in a society, and we are very much interdependent on each other for a day-to-day task. Right from our birth, where we are dependent on our mothers and fathers, to our death, where we are dependent on all our families. To exercise anything, we have to depend on the society. So we are a social animal, and so we are also a rational animal, because we have to think rationally before exercising various choices. But that does not happen always.
Okay. So what is the difference between groups?
So groups, so team is made by people voluntarily to team up for achieving certain tasks, and group is made by people belonging to certain homogeneous section, maybe a social group like family, a village, etc.
Okay, great. Can you make a differentiate between women's safety and women's security? What is the difference? Okay, no issue. One more. Do we need to increase this age of marriage for women?
So I think we could increase the age of marriage for women, but I do not think that it is really that important. Because the major motive behind increasing the age of marriage being that we would have better children who would be healthier and stronger, because if women give birth later, the children would be stronger, And but sir, I think 18 it's still a right age for women to enter into marriage if they are. We should focus more on providing better education and employment avenues for women, because if they have employment prospects more, then they would be considering higher education and delaying their marriage. If not, then they wouldn't.
Okay, last question. So, can you name 3 social evils that you want to eradicate from the society?
So 3 social evil which I would like to eradicate. First being domestic violence. Second, female infanticide. And then third, untouchability and discrimination to lower castes.
Great, thank you.
Anupriya, you have been fortunate that you have been posed questions mostly on sociology by the panelists here. But I would like to check, because I really want further see as to how you fare. 15th of January was an important day for India.
Yes, sir.
What was that? What is the significance?
So 15th of January is known as the Army Day.
All right.
Yes, sir.
And why is that celebrated as Army Day?
So
That's all right. Now, the defense policy, the government of India, that has not been as a documented policy, which is not on the offing. But there are doctrines which govern the defense policy. Now, give me those 3 salient features in bullet points, which has come about in the last 2 to 3 years in the defense forces.
So major issues that have come about in the defense forces are first theaterization of all the commands.
Is it got theaterization or is it got integrated theater command?
Yes, sir, integrated theater commands.
That's right.
So defense modernization
That's general.
and
That's
upgradation.
been a perennial process all throughout.
Yes. And so third being defense partnership with various countries and to increase our exports to like-minded nations. Increasing defense exports.
It is something which has come about, the scheme called Agniveer.
Yes, sir.
Because I asked you 3 changes which are coming. And there is a change in the uniform of these defense forces.
So
You aware of it?
no, sir, not aware.
It's all right. Okay. One question coming from the current affairs again. National Stock Exchange and BSE has created a record of registering 73,000 Sensex mark and 22 in the NSE, that's called Nifty.
Yes, sir.
Do you follow the capital market?
So sometimes I do because I invest in stocks.
Oh, wonderful. Then I must be putting questions to you. How is this Nifty derived?
So Nifty is derived by the 50 top listed countries on the
Countries?
companies on the NSE.
But what? How? Top companies or what? What do they do with 50 companies?
So top 50 listed companies, they calculate the value of their stocks.
Anyway, you have to define the answer. And what are candles in capital market?
So candles.
Yes.
So I'm not sure what.
Technical chart.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay. And what is short selling?
So short selling is when a person does not own a stock, but instead he rents a stock and he is betting on the company's share to go down so that he makes a profit.
So one if you, as you have been investing, if you have to advise madam in which script when she go in, what are the 3 key parameters you look in for a share?
I invest like this. So I invest a very small amount, but certain parameters which people see are P by E ratio, and so they also see the long-term value. If the market is going down, then if the stock is of good quality, then it's better to invest now so that we gain in future.
I take it. I want you to stop here. Thank you. Now, Anupriya, we are done with the formal interview